Honestly, enough of this complete and utter bullshit. Actual, fair, and rational debate about anything to do with international politics anymore is just completely dead. And it has been dying for some time now. Basically, it all comes down to this. Either you're sucking Russia off like no tomorrow, like it's the second coming of fucking Christ, or you're demonizing it like it's the first coming of Satan. And that's literally the entire debate. There was no nuance, there was no analysis whatsoever. Everything is literally just sucking it off or treating it as if it were the devil. And in between, there is no understanding of anything that's going on whatsoever. And unfortunately, there's a lot of people running around claiming to be Marxists doing this. This literally is the definition of metaphysics. This is literally the definition of anti-dialectics. To just jump on it as if it were the savior without having any valid or critical thinking of it whatsoever. And you know who you fucking are because it's like 99% of you that are guilty of this. You literally believe that Russia's like this, like, saving force that's going to make the world a better place when you're too fucking stupid to realize, one, Russia is a capitalist country. So all of a sudden the savior of bringing socialism together is going to be capitalism or a capitalist country. You have to be a fucking moron if you think that. Like Caleb Maupin. Shit, I'm going to have to censor that word out because you're not allowed to say that word on YouTube anymore. Russia is looking out for itself. China is looking out for itself. And they don't give a shit about anything else than their own rational material interests. This is not some kind of ideological struggle. This is all about undermining the West or the United States as the primary global power and replacing it with themselves. This is not some altruistic crusade to make the world a better place. You literally have to be a fucking idiot if you think this. Both of them are very obviously capitalist countries who run on a fucking free market principle, private property, accumulation of capital, and tendency towards monopoly. Russia literally is a fucking oligarchy, and so is the United States, and so is fucking China. Everything in China is done to serve the rich. It is to serve profitability. It is to serve economic stability. It is not to solve social problems. But they put this billionaire, they executed him, so therefore it's socialism, because I'm too fucking stupid to know what socialism is. No, sending someone to jail doesn't make something socialism, you fucking idiot who is acting like an American right-wing fucking moron. And yes, I am going to keep swearing, and if you don't like it, stop watching the goddamn video. No, just because they throw a billionaire in jail doesn't mean it's fucking socialism. Bernie Madoff went to fucking jail. Does that make America a socialist country? No, it doesn't. I guess Vietnam is a socialist country now because it sent... Oh, wait, you already think Vietnam's a socialist country. When you're actually too dumb to notice, Vietnam was never a socialist country. The North was a socialist country. The South was never socialist, and the unification of the two was never socialist either. In case you didn't know, because you don't, the entire fucking country ran on capitalism after them being united. There never was any socialism. And no, don't be a dum-dum and say that, oh, there was universal healthcare, therefore it's socialism. Oh, I guess that means all of fucking Western Europe and Canada is now a socialist country. And you're now parroting a stupid fucking right-wing position that, oh, if we have universal healthcare, we're a socialist country and Stalin's going to come back from the dead and steal our ponies. You're literally just doing their idiotic stereotype. Believe it or not, this is actually a power play between the United States against Russia and China for global supremacy, because that is what capitalist powers fucking do. That's what they were doing before World War II, and that's what they were doing before World War I, and Lenin wrote about it. He wrote a whole big fucking thing about multipolarity, using a different word, but described the same thing, because I don't think the word multipolarity actually existed there. He wrote about it, denounced it as bourgeois bullshit, But you just ignore that because you want to jerk off to fucking China and Russia, because that is all you can do. You don't understand a single fucking thing about economics. You don't understand a fucking thing about politics. All you want to do is have some kind of fucking savior to cheer on because you're too dumb to think for yourself. And every single one of these insults that's coming out of my goddamn mouth right now, you so rightly deserve because of the way you act. The same way you cannot stop leader worshiping. Just everything out of your mouth is, yeah, but that's not what X leader said. Believe it or not, they actually weren't perfect. And that is the entire way. And the worst people for this are the fucking Gonzaloists. Literally everything is just jerking this guy off. They know nothing about theory whatsoever. Absolutely nothing. Everything is just what Gonzalo said. Let me give you an example. There was recently announced a founding of a new communist party in Canada. And basically it's a group of like 5 people. And they're based on Marxist, Leninist, Maoist, Gonzaloist ideas. What in the living fuck does Gonzaloism have to do with Canada? Gonzaloism is literally socialism and revolution on the material conditions of Peru. That has nothing to do with Canada. In fact, Peru and Canada could not be any fucking different economically with that regard. It makes no sense whatsoever. It's literally just Gonzaloists in Canada jerking off to Gonzalo like he's some kind of great fucking radical theorist because they can't fucking think for themselves. They can't see where he was right and where he was wrong. And you know what? Here's a valid criticism. The guy was too fucking stupid to turn off a television watching a soccer game and got caught. That was literally how we got caught. We're supposed to move now so they can't catch us. No, I have to finish watching a soccer game. Gets caught. For all of the great theory that he did produce, he went down like a fucking idiot. That was fucking stupid. And nothing more than hero worship and masturbating to the guy is going to tell you any different. That doesn't undermine any of the great theory and correct theory that he did, include proving the universality of people's war. But that is true. He still got caught like a fucking idiot. All the good Stalin did, his huge fuck up was supporting the creation of Israel because he was being an opportunistic piece of shit. And doing the same old tired bullshit of, oh, well, they were going to create it anyway, so we might as well try to, Stalin thought we might as well try to have influence over it. That sounds the same fucking thing as the guy who walked into Israel saying, well, if I don't take your land, somebody else will. It's the same fucking thing. You're just trying to be that guy. Israel's an illegitimate state, and even if Stalin had influence over it, it still would have been a fucking illegitimate state. So what's your point? Because that's all anyone wants to do is just worship anything a leader says and has absolutely no ability to critically think whatsoever. And the only exception to this is these fucking high-level academic Marxists who are so far up their own goddamn ass that they can't do a single thing that would matter to any Marxist outside of their own little self-masturbatory like circles. Like, oh, here's the Adorno materialist dialectic Althusser complete word salad hyper intellectual bullshit that nobody would fucking care about. Great, you went as absolutely high into academic elitist philosophy as you can. And what fucking good did it do? Did it forward anything in revolution whatsoever? Did it put even a single bit of food into anyone's mouth? No. It's completely fucking useless because nobody wants to acknowledge the fact there isn't going to be any revolution in the first fucking world, and it's really, really obvious. We have been saying that, third worldists have been saying that for like 12, 13 years. And only thing we've ever gotten was insults. Nobody has been able to counter our theory whatsoever. Nothing. Nothing to counter whatsoever. I believe that the most hilarious attempt was made by Kevin Rashid. It wasn't actually Kevin Rashid because he didn't actually write that article that criticized third worldism. He didn't write it because he's in fucking solitary. He couldn't have written it. It was written by Tom Watts, who is now passed away. I won't say it's a good thing that he's passed away because that would violate YouTube's terms of service. But for a guy who wrote all of Kevin Rashid's responses, you notice how they all just kind of stopped all of a sudden after he was kicked out of the party for speaking for black people and a bunch of other stuff that I don't even have the time to go into. What was it? What was his answer? Well, what about fast food workers and the conditions that they have? Yeah, and does that translate to any revolutionary potential? Where is it? You might be able to find it among some sections of the black population. You could find it among huge sections of the Native American population. People who have traditionally always been treated as less than working class, who legitimately suffer extreme oppression. That while first world people suffer alienation, their oppression is minimal compared to, and I know you're stupid and going to respond, yeah, but what about this one thing compared to the third world? Ask yourself, for all of the police brutality that exists in the United States, a massive amount of it, the terrible suffering people have to go through, especially the black population, because of this, has this amounted to a goddamn thing? Nothing. The United States is likely to fall into a fucking racial civil war before it will ever turn into a Marxist revolution. This is an absolute fact that you refuse to acknowledge. And no one has been able to counter our theory. We have accurately predicted every single fucking trend that has come up. And we said, no, it's dead here. Revolution potential is dead in the first world. It is absolutely gone. And we said, not only on top of that, but all of history demonstrates that when the advanced countries go into crisis, they turn to fascism. They do not turn to revolution. They turn to fascism. We saw that with Germany. It told us that exactly. And what the fuck do we have in the United States right now? We have an outright fascism. We have a fascism between conservative fascism with the cult of personality around Trump, or we have the liberal what was it? Oh God, the word escapes me right now because I'm angry. Neoliberalism, a fascist neoliberalism by the Democratic Party. There literally is no other part. Like you could say, oh yeah, but there's this party there that I know with like 15 members and they're running some person. It doesn't matter. Every third party is nothing and meaningless nothing because they hold no power and never will, because all of the resources that are allocated to anything politics goes directly into those two parties. You remember that thing that Marx said about how the system has to be overthrown? You don't change it within. You kind of just forgot about that when you started masturbating to your fucking useless third parties that can't do anything. You have to finally come to your fucking common sense and realize that you are not the center of the universe. You are not the exploited proletariat anymore. The third world is. And that all of history says that you are wrong. All of fair, critical analysis says that you are wrong. And you have to acknowledge the potential of the third world. I have seen, there used to be a website called Signalfire, signalfire.ca. And those stupid assholes attacked third worldism by attacking me personally, of course. And what happened to the fucking guy who ran that thing when he quit? What was the statement that he gave when he quit? He basically said there was no serious activism or revolutionary potential in the first world. Exactly what I had been saying, exactly what third worldism has been saying for over a decade. Did I get one word of apology? No. Did he give one word of apology to the LLCO? No. Did he give one word acknowledging that he had been wrong about third worldism the whole time? No, none, because he has no integrity, and neither does fucking anyone else. I can easily admit when I've been wrong. I can easily admit when I've made a mistake because I'm not a fucking egomaniac, narcissistic piece of shit like every other fucking asshole who walks out here and declares themselves a talking head of Marxism. And I'm not even talking about shitheads like Vosh, which are very clearly not Marxists. Very easily, obviously not Marxist. I'm talking about the ones who do declare themselves to be Marxists. Even if they're not even in a video, they just write things. They're wholly intellectually dishonest. Complete garbage. I bet 99% of them don't even realize that Marx actually advocated for accelerationism. There's an outright quote of him saying something to the effect, if free trade is the word of the day, then so be it. It will forward revolutionary potential. I personally don't believe in accelerationism because I don't think it works. I do believe in shifting resources towards those who will fight. If you do want to fight in the first world, sabotage it, break it, tear it down, disrupt the imperialist core. And even, and this drove me absolutely fucking insane, was when Rame was still around and they had these idiotic fucking ideas that were so far detached from materialism, I can only assume every single one of them was a delusional psychopath. And considering the way they treated me and what they did to me, like calling the fucking cops on me and accusing me of fucking murders, yeah, they are psychopaths. People who have absolutely no concept of any kind of humanity or compassion at all. And they were detached from reality on top of it. So like psychosis on top of it. Their idea was only a trans person could ever lead the revolution because they know what it's like to have been a man and a woman. I mean, maybe you want something to do with maybe the skills to be able to do a revolution or experience. And what does being a man or a woman having to do with class struggle? They have different experiences, yes. But why the fuck would you need to have been both in order to do it? Was Lenin both? Was Mao both? Was Marx both? Was Gonzalo both? Was Hoja both? No, it's a fucking stupid idea. It's a ridiculously stupid idea. That's how anti-material these dumb pieces of shit were. And I'm fucking glad they're gone. And I would like to wish that they would do something else, but that also violates YouTube's terms of service. The entire point of this rant, if you entirely bothered to sit through this whole thing, and you very probably didn't because you got offended at somebody else calling you out on your bullshit, was to just stop jerking off China and Russia and do a materialist analysis like you should have done from the beginning. They are not our saviors. They are the next imperialist powers. And the worst part is it's going to take 20 to 25 years or something like that for these people who are doing it now to finally realize that they're wrong. Like you can see China exporting capital right from Africa right now and writing ridiculous terms into their contracts where they get to completely take over things if conditions aren't met, which, yeah, that's totally socialism, guys. You remember when Thomas Sankaras, his old statement, those who come to give us wheat or to give us the means to do ourselves is better than those who just come and give something. I can't remember the exact quote, but you can find it and you probably already know what it is. And China's not doing that. Russia is absolutely not doing that. It's complete bullshit. Critically analyze, think, actually use economy, which you don't know because you never bothered to learn it, and fully analyze what it is these things are, because China and Russia are not socialist. They operate as capitalist entities, especially Russia. Russia's not even pretending to be socialist like China. And guess what they're going to do? They're going to take a capitalist path. And right now that's undermining the United States so that they can take up that top position. In fact, I wouldn't even be surprised if like 15 or 20 years from now, there starts being hostilities between China and Russia over that position. Because in the end, that's what capitalism does. There is no altruistic capitalism, which is what you're doing right now. You're basically doing a different form of libertarianism where capitalism is perfect and will do the right thing every time. But when it's Russia, in China, it'll magically just be completely different than all the other capitalism that has ever existed, because there's inherently something different about Xi Jinping and Putin that somehow makes capitalism magically a good thing. Critically analyze, think, and please, by all means, don't hesitate to call me names in the comment section and say, what are you doing? Are you doing anything about it? Well, what the fuck do you want me to do? I'm not a global power. I'm one fucking man. And what am I doing? Not jerking off to capitalist countries and capitalist leaders like you. That's what I'm doing. That's already more than what you're doing. And I'm trying to shake you and wake you up until you start paying attention to what the fuck is going on, instead of you living in this pathetic fucking delusion where China and Russia and worshiping those two is basically the core tenet of your personality. Believe it or not, you can have an identity and a personality that's completely absent of those things. Jerking off countries, being patriots to countries that you're not even in. That's possible. So please, go ahead, throw insults, attack me personally, insult my appearance, call me fat, call me stupid, do anything, but actually respond to what is being said. Do anything but actually make a critical, valid response to third worldism, because you're not going to do it, because you're fucking stupid and you're nothing more than a China and Russia fapper. Thank you for watching. If you like this program, then please head over to my Patreon page and set up a monthly donation. It's your donations that keep this program running. Also, if you would like, please rate, comment, subscribe, and share in various social media.